So, as we've been telling you, 20 people are dead, at least 26 wounded after a gunman opens fire outside and inside a Walmart in El Paso, Texas. He's 21 years old. He was taken into custody without police officers firing a single shot, and he is in custody right now. President Trump has promised the full resources of the federal government to the local authorities as they try to deal with this awful crime. Bernard Zapor is a former special agent in charge with the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Department, and also a faculty associate with Arizona State University's School of Criminology and Criminal Justice. So take us back to your ATF days, Bernard. When the president promises the full resources of the federal government, what does that mean for a city like El Paso?
It means significant resources. The charter of an agency like ATF is to support state and local law enforcement. They're going to bring their entire investigative prowess, their intelligence capacity, everything to deal with the life of the firearms involved, the forensics examination, and then investigative resources, because the officers involved, the community itself is traumatized. I mean, the officers that are standing on this scene, that are with these victims, the deceased, their effectual ability is diminished. They are traumatized. They become victimized from a crime like this. And so these extra resources, and the state of Texas itself has significant resources as well, but it's going to be a partnership. And it's a partnership with law enforcement from all the different organizations that bring in their specific resources, but also to work in collaboration to get efficiencies here and get the investigation as completely and thoroughly finished and well thought as possible. In this case, there's a potential prosecution, but also the information that we're going to yield from this as a society that needs to be studied for prevention and protection of our country.
I think our graphics department has produced a map of the route that this suspect traveled. I'm not saying literally these roads, but according to the news conference, he is from Allen, Texas. That's a suburb on the north end of Dallas, and traveled to the far western side of Texas to El Paso, where he opened fire and killed 20 people. So this is a statewide investigation. It's going to involve, well, the Texas Rangers and every state agency to try to put the details, to try to flesh out the details of what led to this murderous day, Bernard.
They will know exactly every route traveled, every stop. They will have everything, his activity on his cell phone, electronic messaging, any places he stopped. They will have his life before this happened, the moments leading up to, and the entire transfer as you're displaying here. All of that will yield from the investigation.
You have said that there is a heinous kind of narcissism that is common to these kinds of shootings, and maybe you can talk about that for our viewers once again. I mean, everybody is going to be asking why, and perhaps we'll never really know the answer, but you can give us some of the basics.
This is a very difficult thing for all of us to face, in that we all seek context for a demonstration of human evil at this level. And so there's almost some satisfaction to find out perhaps there's a manifesto, perhaps there is a hate crime here, but that really is, in a larger view, the easy way out. I argue that if you take an examination of all of these type of events, these mass casualty shooting events, singular shooter events, and you do a deep dig into who that person is and what were they really seeking, it is something else. It is something almost that much more difficult to accept and to understand, and it's a self-adoration and ego-based narcissism. I think one example, if you look at the Las Vegas shooter, there was no context provided. This man lived a life. He was a gambler. He had a small circle of friends. He wasn't particularly social. He didn't express any outrage on social media about anything in particular. But obviously this person, over a long period of time, had a desirous dream of causing mass harm. Maybe this was his way of infamy through this act of evil. And I believe that as a society, with the deep academic, health, mental health, law enforcement, expertise that we have, that we take an examination of that, it's not going to give us an easily identifiable reason or cause, but there is a growing issue in our country, and we have to address that. Additionally, I believe we have to address the fact that these things are going to happen. And so we all need to be trained to protect ourselves by, if we're given the opportunity to run, hide, or fight, that we take that. That there is some briefing, examination, that there is some training on that. And that all of us in general have the ability to stop the bleed. A trauma doctor will tell you that somebody could take a very significant gunshot wound, and with the right application of pressure or stoppage, somebody will not go into shock and perhaps survive enough to make it to a care facility and survive. So let's increase our survivability by being trained and not dying from one of these events. But as a nation, with our tremendous resources, let's examine the deeper issue here and not stop at somebody's professed hate or their apparent reason for doing this. I believe it's deeper, it's going to continue, and that is the biggest concern and threat to our society.
Some good advice there. Bernard Zapor, formerly special agent in charge with the ATF, now on the faculty at Arizona State University. Bernard, thanks.